What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Young Philip, and I'm back with another video for y'all today. And before we get started with today's video, make sure y'all click that like button down below, give it a thumbs up, and make sure y'all click that subscribe button, but make sure y'all click the bell so y'all can be notified and don't miss any of my videos. Today we are back with a movie review, and this time we are going to do a movie review on the classic 1995 movie that y'all been waiting for, Friday. So, without further ado, let's begin. The movie is about a man named Craig who got fired the day before for allegedly stealing boxes from his job. And he lives in South Central. And he has a best friend named Smokey who sells weed for a dude named Big Worm, who's like the neighborhood drug dealer. Craig got a lot of problems. Number one, he don't have a job. Number two, his pop's trying to get him to take trash can outside. Of course, it's trash day and it's Friday. And he's trying to hook up with this girl named Debbie, even though he has a girlfriend. But in this case, he don't like the girlfriend that he's with. Her name is Joy. And she's a certified hoochie mama. But anyway, we end up learning about this dude named Red, who happens to be a friend of both Craig and Smokey. He got his bike taken from a neighborhood bully named Debo. Not only did he get his bike taken, he also got knocked all the way out until his father had to get him up off the ground, and then they drove back home. Then Craig and Smokey decide to go on about their day. First they go to Smokey house to chill over there, and Craig decides to get on Smokey about how he's going to sell bud, but he's smoking it. Which is a pretty good question. How you going to sell weed and then you smoking it at the same time? Like, make it make sense. That's why he's saying on Dope Man, never get high off your own supply. But anyway, we meet a dude named Ezel. He is a crackhead who happens to have petty habits, and he commits petty crimes, like stealing. That's like the petty crime I could think of. But anyway, next thing we meet is Miss Parker. Everybody's crush in the neighborhood. But she's married. Then Craig and Smokey decide to sit on Craig's porch. And that's what they do for dang near the remainder of the movie. Then we meet a pastor who tries his best to shoot a shot with Miss Parker, which he successfully completes this until he get caught red-handed by Mr. Parker. And also, we learn about this dude named Hector who Smokey smoked weed with one day. When they were smoking, he thought it was regular weed or different type of weed. I don't really know that much, but it turned out it was angel dust. And it caused Smokey to run down the street in his drawers and then end up in Debo's pigeon coop. And then Debo shows up later on. Him and Smokey decides to break into Craig's neighbor house while he's away and steal at least $200 out of the house. Only Debo got the money, not Smokey. Then Smokey decides to smoke up Big Worm's weed instead of selling it, and then peer pressured Craig into doing it. Then we meet Felicia. And she's one of those, I will ask you for your stuff and possibly not give it back. So she asks Smokey for his car. And he's like, what type of shit is that? Most people borrow sugar, even ketchup. You want to borrow my car? He quickly dismissed her with the passion. And then she tried to ask Craig for something. And then he says, bye, Felicia. Best quote in the movie. But then they go inside, try to make some Kool-Aid, but Craig ain't got no sugar. This coined the phrases of, you got peanut butter, no jelly, no Kool-Aid, you got Kool-Aid but no sugar, ham but no burger. But anyway, we meet a girl named Debbie, the girl that Craig's trying to get with. And she already quite knows that Craig has a girlfriend, but Smokey tries to tell her that Craig don't like his girl. And Smokey gets hooked up to this girl that happens to be a friend of Debbie's. She claims that she looks like Janet Jackson, but I'll reveal that a little later. Anyway, Smokey ends up getting into it with Big Worm over him not having money from the weed sales and him smoking up his weed. And to make matters even worse, he gets Craig involved in this. And then Chai tells Big Worm about Craig being fired. And he literally tells him, what the fuck that got to do with me? Like, seriously, it don't have nothing to do with him. And he makes it very clear. He want his money. He's coming by to collect his $200 by 10 o'clock on the dot. Not 10:03, not 10:36. You don't have his money or his bud, he gonna terminate him and Craig. Y'all should know what the meaning of terminate mean. But anyway, Craig is pissed off at Smokey for getting him involved. Debbie comes back to come collect her book bag that she accidentally left at Craig's house. And then Craig's girlfriend Joy comes through and she like, fool, where Craig at? And Smokey like, fool, oh, he in the house. And then Craig just try to explain to her that she's just a girl from down the street. And Craig decides to put her in her place once they got inside. While this is all happening, Ezell spots Smokey trying to take a dump in his own backyard. Before that happened, I remember he tried to use Craig's bathroom, but Mr. Jones said the only one that's going to take a number 2 here is going to be me. But the most phrase I will never forget, when you ask someone to use the bathroom, which one you got to do? Number 1, number 2. That's one. But anyway, back to the scene at hand. He's like, I told you, you can watch it later. Stay over there. He said, Smokey, I might not be the smartest man in the world, but look like from back here, like you taking a shit. He said, Ezell, get the hell out of my front yard, man. No, not our front yard, backyard. He's like, man, get the hell out of my backyard, man. He said, between me and you, I'll clean all that shit up for you myself. Ugh. Anyway, Craig tries to get Joy to give him $200. While this happening, at the worst time possible, Felicia comes and ruins the damn situation at hand by asking Craig for his VCR to double tape the Mac. And then Craig goes off on Smokey whenever he returns back home, back to his house, about getting him involved in the situation. And then Craig goes inside to go get his gun, and then his father gives him the lecture of, instead of using guns to handle situation, use your hands to fight. And he says, this what makes you a man. When I was growing up, this was all the protection you needed. You win some, you lose some. But you live. Live to fight for another day. You think you a man with that gun in your hand. So I'm a man without it. And after that talk, Red comes through, and then we see his black eye, and then we coined the phrase, damn! And then after that, Smokey sells weed to Hector, the same guy that gave him the angel dust. And then while this is happening, Debo comes and collects Red's chain. In that sense, Red running home crying, or actually he pulled up in his car. He drove there. And then Smokey meets up with the girl that claims she looked like Janet Jackson, but she really lied to him. She looks the complete opposite. She basically catfished him before they made the show Catfish. Craig desperately tries to ask his mother and sister for $200, but that failed horribly. Smokey goes to Debbie's house to complain about Rita, and then spot Debo's bike out in the front yard and notice that he was in the room sleeping with Felicia. So this gives him perfect opportunity to try to steal the $200 back to avoid being shot at by Big Worm. But that plan failed as Ezell tries to get him caught up by Debo. And they both escaped before Debo could wake up. Smokey tries to beat him down, but this failed. They end up beating the hell out of Lil Chris with a belt. after their attempt to go back to steal the $200, and that Debo seen rolling through on his bike. And then after that, they go in the house to chill, and then Pops had to get on Smokey for bringing the situation to his house and whatnot. He was like, "Now, Dana told me about that big snake situation." He's like, big worm, big hole, big. I don't give a damn. Get your ass from around this house, boy. You always got some shit going." He said, "You keep your ass here. Big worm, big snake. What kind of name is that? I bet y'all been drinking that wine so much, smoking them tweeds, everything, wearing them clothes all half off your ass. What the hell's going on today?" And then they go outside to see if everything's okay. Until they seen a black van parked outside, but in the middle of the street before they got to Craig's house. And it happens to be some people that's friends with Big Worm, and they decided to do a drive-by. Luckily, nobody was harmed in this situation. And then they try to look for Craig and Smokey, and Debbie confronts Debo about him beating up Felicia when he thought it was her that was going through his pockets, when it was really Smokey who did it. As Debo hit Debbie, Craig steps in to defend Debbie. And then it finally gets to the fight part. Craig nearly loses the fight until he finally gets back up on his feet and throws a brick at Debo's face, and then hitting him with a trash can, and then ultimately knocking him out. Smokey retrieves the money while Red retrieves his chain back. And then Craig and Debbie decides they were going to hook up. And then Craig broke up with Joy that night. And then Smokey decides to end his little feud with Big Worm, and then tells him that he gonna have to sell his own weed on his own because he's going to rehab and he's through with this shit. And then he lights up a joint and he looks at the camera and says, "I was just bullshitting, and you know this, man." And that's about the end of the movie. If y'all have any favorite quotes or favorite lines in this movie, drop them down in the comments below. Anyway, I'd like to say thank y'all for tuning into today's video. Make sure y'all click the like button, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a comment. Make sure y'all click the subscribe button, but make sure y'all click the bell so y'all can be notified and don't miss any of my videos. Don't forget to add me on my social media at YoungPhilip_00. That's my Instagram. Don't forget to add me on TikTok at YoungPhilip00, and don't forget to add me on Snapchat at Ryan361005. So with that being said, I'm out.